25 years ago today, the episode Fear of Victory aired for Batman the Animated Series, September 29th, 1992. Hello friends, I'm Andy Knode, and welcome to the show. This is where we talk about Batman the Animated Series, episode by episode, on the 25th anniversary of their original air date. Now, if you're like me and you love Batman and you grew up with Batman the Animated Series, then I hope that you'll consider subscribing to this channel, because we're just a few weeks into talking about these episodes and we've got so many more on their way, so you don't want to miss one.
So now you understand step one.
As September is starting to wind down, we are thinking fall, and it's getting cooler out, and pumpkins and Halloween and pumpkin spice lattes and crunchy leaves and scarves and flannels and sweater weather and all those fun things. We start thinking about Halloween, and this episode is the Fear of Victory.
Seriously, though, this was mighty puzzling behavior from some of our finest athletes.
So without any further ado, let me put the 30-second Joker bomb on the clock, and I'm going to try to give you the rundown of this episode. Dick Grayson is off at college, and his roommate is the star football player who is being recruited. They watch some clips of other athletes that are going crazy and being afraid. He gets a telegram and begins becoming very afraid while the scouts are looking for him. And Robin, who also touched the telegram, is out fighting crime with Batman and also gets scared of heights. They determine that it's from the powder of the telegram, and they trace that back to Jonathan Crane, Professor Crane, the Scarecrow, who's escaped from Arkham at this point, and they go after him at the big game of the Gotham Knights game, stop him, and everything works out well. Oh.
I'm no good to you anymore.
So today's episode, we're talking about the second appearance of the Scarecrow.
It's the fear of victory and the agony of the Scarecrow.
But that's not the real star of this episode, I found. This episode was the first appearance of Robin. Now, I know that there is a two-parter that's on its way, Robin's Reckoning, that kind of gives more of the backstory of Robin, where Robin came from. But that wasn't even produced until later in the series. I don't believe there was any episodes that were produced with Robin that did not air before this one. Did that make sense? Again, I know that that's something that was talked about a lot with the networks, that they really wanted to feature Robin to attract a younger crowd and to kind of soften Batman a little bit.
Oh, my.
I think that they did something very smart with Robin, and they made him a little bit older. He's in college in this episode. So we can make the assumption that he's already been the little kid Robin, and now he's off at college. And they also, in doing that, cleverly explain away that he only comes back, since he's in college, he only comes back every so often to help Batman out and to be Robin again and to work with him in those terms. So once we finally see him and Batman, there's already a relationship there. They're already off and running into this.
Brian Rogers, The Rock.
He was under a lot of pressure, Robin.
The other first for this episode is it's the first appearance of Arkham Asylum. I used to always say Exilum, and my brother Josh used to make fun of me profusely for that. So I always have to pause before I say asylum. And maybe I'm still saying that wrong. Asylum. That sounds weird. Is that right? Asylum? Anyway, it's the first appearance of Arkham. So it's kind of fun. We get to see the Joker and Poison Ivy and Two-Face. Although, last time we saw Poison Ivy, she was locked up at Stonegate. But I'm not going to get crazy about the continuity there. Maybe she was transferred for bad behavior. And if you'll notice, I still have yet to talk about Scarecrow. The last Scarecrow episode that we had was Nothing to Fear. And the big issue that I had with that episode was it wasn't a very clever plot. Now we have the Scarecrow in this episode, and it is very similar, just in the sense that there's no substance to the story. It's just he's delivering telegrams with his fear toxin on them to cause star athletes of top teams to be fearful so that the game is lost, and then he goes and places a bet against the team and wins all this money. And Batman in one point just says,
A perfect way to scare up some quick cash for his sick schemes.
but there isn't a larger plot. There isn't a larger thing or a larger scale objective that he's going to. And so again, it comes to this very simple kind of generic plot that here's a supervillain using his fear toxin to get money.
I need the money, Batman. You know the cost of chemicals these days.
One thing that I noticed too is that they changed the design of him between the first episode and this one. He now has hair, he has more teeth, hat's bigger, so he's just a little bit different. So I don't know. I think that they were having some struggles in trying to figure out what to do with him.
It's against the rules. You can't.
Another thing, there's some great animation moments in this episode, particularly when Robin and Batman are on the building and they're scaling up there with the jewel thieves, and Robin starts to develop this fear of heights. The animation of that and creating the vertigo and the look, and when Batman's falling, that animation looks really good, and so that's a nice little highlight in there.
Robin, give me a hand.
I can't.
But another part that I was disappointed in is again, just in the pacing of things. The score that Shirley Walker did for the Scarecrow, the theme for Scarecrow is very nice. I like that kind of little offset and a little fearful and kind of a little weird. I love that melody line for him, and it fits the Scarecrow really well. And then we get to this final confrontation between Batman and the Scarecrow on the ledge with the vial. And there's a noticeably absent amount of music there.
And it will take much more than this to bring every pathetic person in Gotham to their knees, kissing my feet. No closer, Batman, unless you want a stampede of half-crazed humanity crushing and clawing each other.
Oh, no.
It just kind of lowered the entire intensity of that scene by missing the music. And I think that that's a testament to the strength of Shirley Walker's score throughout the series, that it made these moments feel very grand and very large and cinematic and full of life, that when it's not there and there's more silence in the soundtrack, it's noticeable. And now you're just looking at two guys in costumes battling. So as it comes time to rank this episode, again, I was looking towards the lower realm of the list as to where to place this. And it unfortunately ended up being sort of a battle of last place between Eternal Youth and Fear of Victory. No, Nothing to Fear, the other Scarecrow episode. And so I just kind of sandwiched it in the middle at number 15. I gave it a notch up above Eternal Youth because it does feature some nice elements with Robin and Batman, but placed it below the Fear of Victory. Why do I keep calling it that? Nothing to Fear fit a little bit of a darker element, that they showed more of the fear and the parts with Batman being afraid of disappointing his father. Those kind of things just kind of notched it up there. So it's holding at the number 15 slot of the best episodes of Batman the Animated Series so far.
Yeah, well, lucky. That's what you must be, 'cause I ain't seen you lose. Not even once over the last week.
If you agree with me that these episodes with the Scarecrow are just not matching up to where they should be, then let me know in the comments below what you think it is about the Scarecrow that just makes these episodes kind of mediocre.
I'm afraid there's only one person who can answer that. The Professor of Fear himself, the Scarecrow.
I know there's a popularity in Scarecrow. I know that there's some people out there that Scarecrow is their favorite villain, and I'd love to hear from you. Do you think these episodes hold up against Mr. Freeze and Feet of Ice? No, Mr. Freeze in Heart of Ice and Clayface in Feet of Clay, there it is, that do you think that this should be ranked up more in that area, or do you agree that this isn't the best use of Scarecrow? I'd love to know what you think in the comments below.
I'm not afraid. Not afraid.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a like so that I know that I'm on the right track and know which of these episodes that you like and don't like. And if you want to come back and you want to see more of these, just hit the subscribe button. The more people that I have subscribed to the channel, the more that I know that I can keep creating these videos. I am having a blast going back and watching Batman and talking about it. Based on the comments that I'm getting from all of you, I see that I am connecting, that other people are enjoying this as well. So tomorrow we have kind of a fun and interesting episode, because some people really like it and some people don't, and that is I've got Batman in My Basement is tomorrow's episode. So be sure to tune in and watch that. And in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I'm Andy Knode, and I'll see you tomorrow.